Welcome back to the Rules of Engagement. We're now into the Q&A. First question is going to be from CPU Chip. How do I defend dropships and expand to have enough income to fight the Terran with Roach Hydra Viper? Kill them in combat but have no economy. So what's happening is dying to basically drop harass is my interpretation. So, of course, you know, and the more units you put back to defend drops, then you don't kill them in the battle. So what I would actually recommend is this isn't something to do if you're like a grandmaster or a high master, because you have really good, if you're that high, what you can do is have a separate control group and have really good scouting and always intercept the drops and stuff, and there's other ways that are slightly better. But if you're not that insanely good at the game, what I would recommend is I actually would not go past 3 bases until you have enough economy to build extra sack defense. So, you know, the pros will take the 4th and stuff, but if you're not that great and your opponent's dropping a lot, you know, just get happy to tech the hive faster, prioritize your hive tech to get Vipers to be more cost efficient, and just slow down the 4th a little bit until you have enough to make a stack defense. And it's much easier to defend 3 bases than it is to defend 4. It's so much easier, but still, great overlord spread, so you see the drops coming, of course, is very key as well. So, great overlord spread, delay the 4th base a bit until you have the money to get that sack defense. And it'll be a little bit easier to hold those drops. So next question is going to be from, I'm not going to try to pronounce this. Can you give a hint on how to, this is on YouTube, of course. Can you give a hint on how to manage big groups of units in this kind of big engagement? I mean, how many group hotkeys should you use? Should you have all your army on one hotkey and micro them by clicking with mouse? Or should you have a group for army, group for Colossi, group for Templar, group for another few Templar, group for Mothership Core, etc., etc.? So, there's a lot of different styles to this. I often like to use the Brood War style, where in Brood War, you basically only use the hotkeys to send your army in, right? You engage, use the hotkeys to make sure your entire army was fighting and is fighting at the same time. And then the micro was by mouse. But in Starcraft 2, because you don't need as many hotkeys to macro, you can do a little bit more hotkey micro as well. Some things you might want to do is you might want to put Stalkers on a separate hotkey, so you can pick at their army right before the battle. You can shift down Vikings a little bit easier. And then also you can put Templar on a hotkey, so you make sure they don't move into the opponent's army. They stay back a little further. So I would recommend doing a couple hotkeys extra for Mothership Core, Templar, and Stalkers. But I still think in Battle the Micro, you should primarily be using the mouse, right? So Mothership Core is the exception if you had someone on its own hotkey. But for example, you want to retreat your Colossi. Colossi should go with the rest of your army. You see that you want to pull them back from the Vikings because their bio ran back and their Vikings are running forward. You want to pull your Colossi back, pull the Vikings over your other units. Control click the Vikings, pull them back. That's a better way to do it than trying to do a separate control group, I think. For multiple Templar, what I would do is I would probably keep most Templar in the same hotkey, but pre-split them before the battle, right? And then when you're using Storms, you can use the hotkey to click Storms, or you can select an individual Templar, but when you're trying to control them to split them around and to poke, use that with the mouse, right? So it's kind of back and forth. Use a combination of the two. I would recommend minimal hotkey micro in battle because it's easy to screw up, right? You hit the wrong hotkey and you right-click a unit, and all of a sudden your army like runs into their army because you told your Vikings to move, you told your Zealots to move to their Vikings instead of your Stalkers to attack it. So I try using control clicking and boxing in battle more than control groups. Control groups mostly for the major attack and then the major retreat. Next question is going to be, in the late game as Zerg vs Terran bio army, should I focus more on Ultras production or Broodlords? If you had to pick one, do Ultras. In Heart of the Storm, Ultras are a little bit better against the bio than the Broodlords. Now, if your opponent's going extremely heavy Widowmine, Broodlords are great. Or if you go heavy Ultra, right, and you use it to take more bases, then all of a sudden they crank out a ton of Marauders, have that Greater Spire, so you can tech switch. But for your initial tech, stick with the Ultras. Broodlords only versus mass Widowmines, or later game tech switch if they make a whole lot of Marauders. Of course, the last question of the day is going to be, ask one question. When we saw that Thorzain was spread out and fully prepared at the bottom, so this is on this YouTube from the last Rules of Engagement, Thorzain vs. Hero. Thorzain was spread out and fully prepared at the bottom of Hero's ramp before an engagement. Would you say it would be a good idea to use your positioning and prepared army advantage and directly push up the ramp, considering that its EMP micro is good? Attacking directly would be a better choice than waiting for Hero to make a move. So it really depends on if Hero is Well, this was, I'm pretty sure this is the Akalon Waste map, right? So, what's happening is Thorzain was holding the contain, and pushing up the ramp would be good if Hero was all clumped up. But what actually happened that game is Hero would have his main army clumped up, but he had all these Templar at the wings, right? And his main army would poke down the ramp to see if Thorzain's position, then he'd run back up and not want to engage it. And as soon as Thorzain got out, he ran all the way down and Templar followed suit. I don't think Thorzain could have came up the ramp because the Templar spread on top of the ramp was very, very good by Hero, right? And if he tries to go up the ramp and a time warp goes down and a charge lots kill the ghosts, and the Templar are out of range of the ghosts, yeah, he might kill 10 Zealots for 4 ghosts, but that's a great trade for the Protoss because 10 Zealots, first of all, is going to be cheaper than 4 ghosts. They're 1/3 the price. And then also, yeah, now they have Templar and you have no answer to that. So I don't think Thorzain should have pushed up the ramp, really. Maybe he could have made it work because he did have a small army advantage, but I think what he did was good. He just shouldn't have gone opposition at one time. All it takes is one mistake, you get punished, and you can lose, and that was why he lost that set. Anyways, that wraps up the Q&A. Thank you guys for watching, and tune in again tomorrow. Of course, 8 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow is going to be the WCS Premier League America, and then after that will be another episode of Rules of Engagement.